have you guys ever sat down and say to yourself, what is knowledge? Like, what really is knowledge, right? And then how is knowledge useful for the human experience? And if you haven't sat down and thought about it, I have. Here you guys go. Here you go. Yeah, ready? Knowledge is the transference or the transmission of each human being insights, experience, and their own investigation of a given subject or a given topic or subject, topic, or service. And they would learn that topic and service or subject, and they would transfer it to another person, meaning that how they would educate in a book, or they would socialize with someone and speak verbally, like how I'm doing on the internet, right? And then once that person get that information, that person can either debunk that information, that person could expand on that information, that person can also see faults that doesn't make any sense. So they're gonna be in like in a halfway house with that information, right? So the more information that you have that's been transferred to you from another person's consciousness, because it's the person's consciousness, how they view the world, their ideas of the world, their scientific findings of the world. And when I mean scientific findings, they don't necessarily have to be a scientist, but they can be, of the world that they are giving to another person. So every single human being on the planet transfer information to another person. And if someone, let's say someone like myself, I read a lot of books, a lot of books. So if I read 1,000 books, I have 1,000 different consciousness, meaning the person's information, not their self concept per se. And I could even say self concept too, in my mind. So now I'm knowledgeable of 1,000 people view of the world on many different subjects. Now, compared to someone else who decide that they don't want to either read books or they don't want to socialize, they're going to have limited information because they're not sharing knowledge. They're not giving the knowledge from person to either to expand on the knowledge they receive or share it out to someone else so that person could expand the knowledge that they transfer to that person. So knowledge is really the transference of information, metaphorically speaking and quantically, y'all know what I mean, from person to person, verbally, emotionally, and nonverbal. And someone who acquires more knowledge would be considered knowledgeable because they experienced more people's mindsets and learned from more people than the person who haven't. And that's why it's very careful to say that I don't want new friends or I don't like to socialize, because then how are you expanding your mind? How are you getting worldly knowledge? Because worldly knowledge and self knowledge is two different things. In order to be worldly knowledge and be knowledgeable, you have to get information from another person because other people have different experience than you to help you expand on what you already collected and learned for yourself in your experience. I hope I'm saying this right. I hope to say this right. But this is much deeper. So worldly knowledge is transferred from person to person for each person to expand on their exposure of information of what they already learned on their own. And then self knowledge is something completely different. That's a totally different topic that I'm going to talk about during the week. And I can even expand even more on on worldly knowledge and the transference or the transmission of knowledge from person to person, and why someone with me look more knowledgeable than the other. And it's not like knowledgeable is it's special for one person and not the next. It's just the exposure.